Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
Our next speaker is Sue Clancy. Sue Clancy has been practicing psychotherapy for over 15 years. She has guided people through darkness and trauma into light through her spiritual transformations. She believes that darkness is what brings awareness to all of us, and then the journey to light can only then begin. This path is what leads to a deeper insight into what it really means love and to approve self at a very deep level. So over to ma'am, Sue Clancy. And your topic today is the power of self-love.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Are you hearing me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thanks to that last speaker for that lovely grounding exercise, and thanks to everyone that made this possible. I have made some notes, but I'll try to speak directly to you. My talk is about self-love, and I chose this because it has become my life's work. And I talk about it from a perspective of the lived experience and the spiritual experience. So I'm going to start off by the lived experience, which was my own coming to self-love. And I'm going to start from up until I was 32, so all of my life before I was 32, was a difficult life, quite traumatic. And when I became a teenager, I turned to drugs and alcohol as a way of living in uncomfortableness, I suppose. They say that addiction is not about needing drugs, but needing connection and running away from reality. And I think that was true for me. I was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and I was lost and alone. I was often suicidal, depressed and lonely, and I was incapable of real emotions. I was so disconnected from myself. I look back now and find it quite horrifying that that's how it was, but it was. I was hard and unyielding. I had no contact with my heart, and I had no concept of a God. I described myself as an atheist. I took no responsibility for myself nor for my actions. I was often high or drunk or not interested in life. I was unreliable, and I was a liar, a cheat, and a coward. And that there is no joy in saying those things for me, but there is a truth. That's the truth, and that's my story. That's how it was. I cared about nothing and no one. I did not know how to have real feelings. And then when I was 32, I knew it was enough. I knew it was over. And I actually joined the 12-step fellowship of AA and later NA, Drugs Anonymous. So I don't know if people know about that, but it's a wonderful worldwide fellowship that really helps people out of darkness and into a life that's livable and possible, and can be a very spiritual life. It has a very spiritual base to it. So it was my first meeting with anything that was more just more spiritual. It gave me a different view on life. First of all, the drinking and the drugs had to stop, and AA is very good at that because there's a connection with other people that have been through, been through the same problems. So that's how it works. So once I had stopped that, I began to look around at my life, the wreckage of it really, and to see what I needed to do with it. And I wanted some education. I trained to be a therapist. I wanted a better life. I was gradually becoming a kinder, nicer person just by the effect of not running away from myself. And later on, I met my guru, which is Jacqueline. And I was really happy to hear her speak earlier in the week. It was beautiful what she spoke about the disciple and the guru. And also when she said that therapy is needed for change, I really believe that. And I've done a lot of therapy on myself to make myself clearer, and also to be able to help others. She said, if you find yourself in that relationship, play it well. And she talked about a lot of things about that relationship that is helpful. And I just want to say that without that relationship, for me, I don't think that my expansion would have been as full as it has been. I would have been a better person, and I would have been a person in AA growing and changing, but I don't think it would have been as complete without the guru relationship that I had. I loved her, and I could see her as a person. I think she talked about that herself. I could see that she was a real person, but I could also see that she was something else, and she was showing and offering something else to me, and I was very excited about it. She went in the 20,000 millennium year. She was going to India, and I went with her. And I was a very unlikely seeker. I was a working class woman, an ex-drug addict. Although they say that people of addiction are natural seekers. I think that's probably true. I think most of the people that I've met that are in addiction, they often feel dissatisfied with the world and see all the despair in the world and want to run away from it. I remembered, though, that when I was 16, all I ever wanted to do was go to India. I thought there was some magic there that could help me. So I was in India with Jacqueline, with some of my old ideas and prejudices and cynicism. That was with me. But Jacqueline taught me to meditate, and she taught me to dance, and she taught me to be happy and to be honest and dare to dream. And from that relationship, I was able to get in touch with my heart, and my heart began to open. And when that happened, the expansion and love that I started to feel for Jacqueline, for myself, and ultimately for everything that I came in contact with, it was a real time of expansion, and it was very sweetly painful. I'd never felt such enormous feelings of love for everything and everybody. And it was overbearing at times, but it happened, and that's how it was. And where there was hatred, there was love. Where there was skepticism, there became belief. And where there had been anger, there was joy. And I was so grateful to be given this. It was like living in a new world. It was like being transported into a different life. And when I look back at the life that I talked about at the beginning, I can't imagine that was me. I know it was, but I can't imagine that. It's so far away. And then I carried on what my path became, because I'd already trained as a therapist. I began to work with people who are not spiritual people. I could not have contacted them on that level. They were people like what I described for myself, that were lost and lonely and traumatized. And to help those people out of the darkness. I knew that was my path, because I understood those people. I understood what it's like to live in that darkness and not to have any light in your heart. It's a terrible thing. It is an absolute terrible thing to live like that as a human being. So I worked with those people for a long time. I still do. And the joy of leading someone out of that darkness into, first of all, a change, a therapeutic change, that they're not so hard on themselves, teaching people not to be so unkind with that internal voice that damaged people have. And the joy from doing that is just beyond belief. sometimes I wonder why I stay in the work, but it's like I said to you, I know it's my calling. It's hard work, but the rewards of it are so great. And these days more, these last 5 years, I work more with people that are wanting spiritual expansion. Their heart is opening, but they don't really have a practice and they don't know what to do. And I work with those people as well. And I guess that's more joyful to my heart because it's not as hard. And I really enjoy that work. The joy of bringing someone out of the darkness from having no compassion into love and self-love in the light of awareness is so completely fulfilling to me. And I just want to say that, just to finish, that Jacqueline gave me a spiritual name many years ago, and the name was Karuna, and it means compassion. And when she gave it to me, I thought it meant that I had to give compassion to others. And it was only later that she told me that I needed the compassion for myself. And I don't use the name now because I don't need it, because I am living compassion. I know that deeply. So thank you for listening. Thank you very much.